Hello, my beautiful bookish friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv if you are new here, and today we're going to be talking about my last TBR of the year. I cannot believe today is December. We are already in December at the end of 2023, and this year has just been a giant blur, to be honest. So much has happened within this year, I think, to make it go by so quickly, but I seriously cannot believe we are at the end of another reading year. I cannot believe my Christmas tree is already up. I feel like I decorated for fall just yesterday, and I can't believe I'm sitting here talking about my last books I want to read for the year. There are lots of exciting things happening this month, including a readathon I'm hosting, but the main thing I'm excited about, as you can probably tell from the title, is that I am doing the 12 days of bookmas. It's so funny because I didn't realize 12 days of bookmas was actually going to be a thing. I've actually seen some people already doing 12 days instead of like 25 days, and here I was thinking I had like some original idea. But the main idea behind this is I work full time, the holiday season is crazy, I don't have time to do vlogmas necessarily. I feel like this month for me, I'm actually taking a little bit of like a step back and just relaxing. I've already hit my 100 goal and surpassed that for my reading goal this year, so I definitely don't have any big plans to rush into finishing a bunch of books for the year or anything like that. This TBR is definitely very curated. I was sitting here trying to think of what are the top 10 books that I want to read before the year ends, or what are books that I need to finish, and just kind of going with the flow this month. I know I said I'm taking a step back, but like, we're also doing bookmas, so let me just explain that. You can look forward to seeing me every Sunday and hopefully every Friday. Some things might get switched around eventually because life happens. We are doing no pressure, but I do have 12 video ideas for this month, and all of them I'm very excited about. There's probably one or two holiday videos, but the rest are actually just like end of the year videos that I'm super excited about. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you guys are excited and on board. I've never done like anything super crazy around the holidays before, so 12 videos definitely sounds daunting, but they're all really fun videos that I love making in general, so I think it's gonna be a fun time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's just go ahead and dive into the last books of 2023 that I'm gonna be reading. I still can't believe I'm saying that, but the first thing I always like to mention is my Tea Time Society book club. If you guys don't know, I have a Patreon where you can pay $3 a month to be a part of a monthly live discussion. We read the book. There's also other perks and things like that on that $3 tier. So if you're not a part of that, or you're looking for just like an online cozy community, I swear I have the best group of women on there. They are just so kind and so thoughtful. They say good morning to each other every day, and everyone's just so cute and so sweet. So if you like my content and you want more of that, definitely check out my Patreon. So for the month of December, I did have a couple like fantasy cozy reads that people can choose from, which by the way, I come up with 3 selections and you guys get to vote what you want to read. But the one that won out that I'm honestly not surprised that won is A December to Remember by Jenny Bayliss. This is going to be my first Jenny Bayliss book. It is her newest that I believe came out in November, end of October, but this one sounds so sweet and such a beautiful story. I've heard that most of her books are pretty emotional, which honestly I kind of like, but this one is about 3 half-sisters whose father has passed away. They go back to this small like cozy town. He owned an antique shop, and they're basically just going back to see what's in it for them with his will, and they're out of there because none of them have ever gotten along very well. But I have a feeling by the end there could be something that changes. I know there's also a romance in here, so I'm very curious to see where that comes into play, but I have a feeling this is just going to be the perfect read to end the year. It's going to be so cozy and so heartfelt, I can already tell, so I'm very excited to finally read a Jenny Bayliss. The next most fun or exciting thing that's happening this month for me is I'm hosting a Christmassy weekend readathon with my friend Kendal. We both have a Patreon, we both do a lot with our patrons, and we just always do reading sprints and stuff together. So we said, why not just combine our patrons together for one cozy Christmassy weekend? So we did come up with a name for this readathon. It's It's called the Holly Jolly Readathon. The most fun thing that I think I'm excited about this readathon is not only the reading prompts, which I will get into in a second, but we're going to be having a gingerbread decorating house contest. I already have my kit. Kendal and I are going to create one together, but we are going to have you guys gather your supplies, make your best gingerbread house, send us pictures, and the winner is actually going to get a Christmassy prize. So we are super excited about that part. We are also going to be watching the new Will Ferrell Christmas movie called Candy Cane Lane that's coming out on Amazon Prime. I think it might already be on Prime already, but it just looks freaking hilarious and I'm so excited about our little movie night. Of course, we're going to be having reading sprints the first night that Friday, so if you guys are interested at all, definitely join my Patreon or Kendal's, but I am going to go through the reading prompts for this little readathon. And the first one is to just read a book with red or green on the cover. Obviously those are Christmas colors. There's going to be a lot of books with red or green on the cover, but for this prompt I decided to choose a Kingdom of Sweets, which is actually a new book of the month choice for December. The only thing I know about this is it is a Nutcracker retelling and it's an adult fantasy book, I believe, and it just sounds really intriguing, and obviously it's going to be perfect for this time of year. It wasn't originally on my TBR, but I feel like it could be a really good Christmassy book. The next prompt is just to read a Christmas romance. There are obviously a ton of Christmas romances out there, and we just wanted to make this readathon simple and easy, and we just wanted you to be able to fulfill these prompts with books that are probably already on your Christmassy TBR. So for this one, to make it easy, I am going to be reading A December to Remember, which is also my book club pick. The next prompt is to read a winter mystery. This could be some type of thriller. I know Agatha Christie even has Midwinter Murder, which has a bunch of little like Christmas or wintry stories within that book. So you could just read one of those little ones if you don't want to take a ton of time to read like a full novel. But for me, I'm going to be reading a wintry middle grade that has been on my list for so long now. I think I've owned this book for like 4 years, called Winterhouse by Ben Guterson. This one looks so magical and so cute. It's about a wintry hotel where I believe our main character, who's this little girl, has to solve a mystery, but she comes across like a magical library and a bunch of different quirky characters that are suspects, and I think this is just going to be a really fun time. Usually middle grade has a great like moral to the story, or it's just super heartwarming, and I feel like this time of year is going to be absolutely perfect to finally pick this one up. And the last prompt, we just want you guys to pick out a nostalgic childhood holiday or Christmas book. I feel like this time of year is so nostalgic for a lot of us, and I know some of you guys have children or kids that you read with, so this is going to be the perfect opportunity to introduce them to a book that you read as a child. For this one though, I am just going to be reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I feel like there's a lot of childhood books my mom probably has, so if I go to their house, I may see if she has something different for me to pick up. But this is just going to be quick and easy. The Grinch is one of my all-time favorite Christmas stories, so you can't go wrong with The Grinch, and this is just going to be a really short, fun read. So if you're interested at all in a Christmassy or holiday readathon, this is going to be taking place December 15th on a Friday and going through the 17th on a Sunday. I hope you guys can join us though for the gingerbread making and the movie night and the sprints and just all of the fun things we have planned. Now we are going to talk about the 3 books I am currently in the middle of. One of them I am not proud of. I've been in the middle of it since I think the beginning of October, and that does not mean it is a bad thing. It just means I have had a lot going on and I have not been able to sit down and really enjoy and finish this book. But I also have 2 other books that I really need to finish before the end of the year is over. So these next 3 are taking a top priority of my TBR. So the first one I absolutely have to finish is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. As you probably know and maybe even participated in, I hosted a Little Women readathon with 3 of my other good friends, and I only got halfway through readathon week, which is not bad considering this is almost a 600-page book. But I really don't mind bringing this book into the rest of the year because it is just such a cozy Christmas nostalgic read. It's a heartfelt read. There's so many good lessons in this book, and it does take place around Christmas. So I will also be watching the older 1994 version of the movie because that's the version I grew grew up off of, and it just makes the story come even more to life for me. So this is the first year I'm finally reading this, and I can already tell that I am going to be reading this or picking it up every single year. The next book that I must finish, I'm going to be so upset with myself if I don't finish it, which I feel like I can. I've got like 250 pages left, is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I don't have my dust jacket right now, but you guys, I need to hurry up with this because I'm terrified I'm going to get spoiled on Instagram because this book is still everywhere. It's been weeks since this has been out, and I am still seeing stuff all over the place about this book. So it's high time I hurry up and finish it. If you guys have seen the font in this book, it is so small, so it's gonna take me a little bit longer to get through it, but I'm confident that I can make it before the end of December. The next book, which is the one that I've been sitting on the longest, is Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. I am really loving this book. I think it could be a potential 5-star, but I started picking it up again last night, and I literally had to go online and find like a recap because it has been so long since I've picked this one up. This is what happens. I start multiple books because I'm so excited about them, and I never end up finishing them, but I don't think I've had this happen to me at the very end of the year. So I'm definitely cramming and stressing a little bit about finishing those 3 books, but I'm confident that I can do it. So the very first most important book that I will be reading, basically the only one that's coming out the rest of the year that I will be dropping everything for to read, is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. Probably no surprise there. Spoiler alert, Divine Rivals made my top 5, possibly 3 favorite books this year. So you can bet I will be at Barnes & Noble the hour this book drops. I already have it on pre-order, but because I am who I am, I'm probably going to go to the store too. If you love historical fantasy with mythology, heavier on the romance, and that feels kind of like Narnia and very wintry and fallish at the same time, this is going to be the perfect duology for you, so I highly recommend checking it out. If you check out any books in this video, please let it be Divine Rivals. The next book that I must read before the year ends, because I know it's going to be an easy 5 stars for me, is Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. I may try to squeeze this one in right after Christmas and end the year with a bang with a 5-star read. I feel like that's probably going to be the way to go, but either way, we are going for the cozy fantasy this month. And if you guys have not picked up Legends and Lattes, you definitely should. It's full of coffee vibes and sweet heartwarming characters, and I love the friendship dynamic in this book. I think it's so incredible, and I've been itching to pick this up, but honestly just waiting for the right time to do it. So if you have not read Legends and Lattes, even if you're not a fantasy reader, I feel like you could really enjoy this one. I also have Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries. I've heard this one is really good for fall transitioning into winter, but I couldn't tell you why I haven't picked it up yet. I just know that I believe the second one, does it come out in January possibly, or even February? So I'm hoping that will be my push to finally get to this first one. I don't know much about this. It's just about a grumpy like professor, I think, that is studying fairies, and there's a romance in it. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews, but all of the themes in this book just sound like an Olivia book, so I'm very eager to get to it. Next, I have A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, which I know is going to be 5 stars for me because last year this book blew up out of nowhere. I had never heard of T. Kingfisher before in my life. I have read books by this author since, but this is one of the top ones that I'm itching to get to because, again, everybody loved it last year. It started out where we have this little girl who is secretly a wizard, but she works at a bakery, and when she gets to the bakery one morning, there is actually a dead body. Of course, everybody accuses her, but she is trying to find the killer before everybody basically kills her. So I'm really excited to see what adventures she goes on, especially because her little companion is like this sourdough starter that talks, and I think there's even a gingerbread man. So I definitely have a feeling that this is going to be one that I'm easily going to breeze through. Last but not least, I have Down Comes the Night by Allison Saft. I feel like a lot of these are repeat books from November, but that's okay. I finally have the audiobook from the library for this one, and it sounds incredible. A snow-drenched romantic fantasy that keeps you racing through the pages long into the night. Our main character, Ren, has gotten into some trouble. She's been using magic when she's not supposed to, so she ends up being dragged away from her best friend in order to kind of serve this king because he has some type of mysterious illness, I believe, or maybe one of his family member does. I'm kind of fuzzy on the details, but the main reason I want to pick this up is because I've never read an Allison Saft, and and the publisher also sent me this. It just got a cover redesign. So I'm hoping that if I love this one, I will want to just go down her backlist. And she even has a new book that is coming out in January called A Fragile Enchantment. So if I love this one, I'm hoping to finally get to more of her books. Next, we're gonna get into my top 4 holiday romances that I really want to get to this year. It was so hard to narrow down just a few top priorities that I want to get to because there's so many cute ones and there's so many good ones out there. But I've slowly been collecting these, and 3 of them I actually had last year and 1 I just bought. So I'm definitely trying to knock out my physical TBR here. But first of all, I had to buy Catherine Walsh's new book, Snowed In. I read Holiday Romance last year and I got so many people on the bandwagon for that because I literally would not shut up about it. I loved it so much. I think I read it in 1 sitting. If you can picture the banter of Emily Henry, but like the heartwarming story of maybe Abby Jimenez, this is kind of what that is. It's even been compared, especially this one, to Emily Henry. So if you guys are interested or like either one of those authors, definitely read Holiday Romance. I loved it so much last year, so of course I have to make it an annual tradition and start with this one. Next, I have The 12 Dates of Christmas, which is the first Jenny Bayliss book I have ever seen before. I think last year a lot of people were reading this, and I'm not sure what year it actually came out, but I meant to read this last year. Didn't happen, so I am going to be trying to squeeze this one in before a December to Remember because this one is her most popular. We have our main character whose friend signs her up on 12 blind dates, but I've heard the most frustrating or upsetting part about this book is some of these guys aren't so great. So I'm interested to see how this is going to go. I'm sure some of these dates are going to be pretty humorous. We will see how it goes, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun ride. Next, I have Always in December by Emily Stone. She has another book coming out this year, or that already came out, called Love Holly, and every single year I buy her books even though I've never read them. I just accidentally buy her books, and I need to actually read one before that happens again. Our main character in this one has lost her parents, and every Christmas she writes them a letter and she puts it in the mail, but on the way to her mailbox I think she runs into this guy on a bike and romance ensues from there. So I'm not sure what other sad things could happen in this book or go down, but I'm so here for it. I'm just flipping through this book and I'm already getting like those 5-star vibes, so I'm really hoping that this could be a new favorite Christmas read for me. And last but definitely not least, we have A Cat Cafe Christmas by Cody Gary. And what more could you want? We have coffee, we have romance, we have cats. I mean, that's the perfect equation for me to give this book 5 stars. But the main selling point for me is that this girl is really trying hard to keep up this cat cafe. I've been to one myself and it's so much fun to just drink coffee and pet cats all day long. But unfortunately her business is going underway and she meets this guy that's a veterinarian. How cute is that? That is all I need to know. And each chapter is even named after a specific cat. There's a cat for each header and it explains about the cat, what kind of cat they are, what they look like, their personality, and this just sounds perfect. Sounds perfect for me and I'm so excited for it. Well, my friends, those are my top books that I am hoping to finish by the end of the year. Obviously, I probably won't get to all of them, but I'm definitely gonna finish Little Women, Iron Flame, and Belladonna. Those 3 I have to finish before I start diving into Christmas reads. Before you leave, tell me if there are any books that you must finish before the end of the year, whether it's something that came out earlier this year that you were determined to get to. Maybe you're like me and you're in the middle of like 5 or 6 books and you don't know where to start and you feel like you're scrambling, but I would love to know what books you were trying to wrap up before the year ends, so definitely let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys are also excited for Bookmas. I know there's a lot of people out there that are doing Vlogmas, and I feel like every day I jump on YouTube and there's like 10 million videos, but it means so much to me that you guys keep coming back to my channel and watching my content and supporting me. I love you guys so much. I hope you have the perfect start to your holiday season, and I hope these videos can bring you some joy during this time. Once again, I love you guys so much, and I will see you Friday in my next Bookmas video.